friends and family. Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Bazaar. I'm your old crone, Jessica.
And I'm your old crone, Montana.
And
Just
if you're
kidding.
new, we're not. And if you're new here, we've been waiting for you.
Where have you been?
Welcome.
Welcome. We're just as weird as the topics that we cover.
Maybe weirder.
Enter at your own risk.
Listen at your own risk.
Make fun of us freely.
Just not to our faces. That would be great. So, this episode comes out on Sunday, so today, if we can get it out on time. But we posted on social media, but we decided to change our podcast release dates, our episode release dates to Sundays instead of Thursdays because we think more people are home on the weekend. So we're going to give it a try.
And it gives us more time too.
Yes.
Because we were literally recording on a Tuesday and having it ready by Thursday. And that's a lot when you have another job.
But yeah, it is a lot of work to kind of get everything turned over within a day and a half, pretty much.
Yes.
So Sundays, here we come. And this is also our second attempt at trying to do the podcast this week.
Because, like always, we're cursed.
Mm-hmm.
And Montana went out of town and she's like, can we record on Tuesday night or Wednesday night after work? And I was like, sure, let's do Wednesday. And I was literally putting on my headset, joining the Riverside. It's kind of like a Zoom thing. That's what we record on. And when I went to hit join, my power went out. Like, you gotta be kidding me. So we're like, well, same time tomorrow. Like, if my power goes out today, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what it is about us.
I don't either.
Yeah, we went out of town for Ryan's birthday. I went to Hocking Hills, and for anyone not from Ohio, it's basically just a really big state park we have here. Really pretty state park. I think it should be a national park, but that's a whole different story.
It is beautiful.
And I feel like the cabin we were in, it was just a bunch of stuff that would lead to us like a horror movie.
The hills have eyes.
Yeah, so we did this called a hideaway. And so it was kind of farther back with like a really long driveway. But the driveway was really gravel and steep, and it would go all the way down to where the cabin was. And when we got there, it was pouring rain, like just pouring rain. And we had no internet, apparently. Oh. We had Wi-Fi, but no internet. Tell me how that works.
Probably because it's a company that is so terrible down there. I forget what it's called.
But what's the point of having, I don't know what they use, but like, what's the point of having Wi-Fi? Yeah, Wi-Fi was excellent, at all bars, but no internet, so you couldn't even use the Wi-Fi. I was like, I don't understand this.
I don't know.
So something happened, right? We couldn't call anybody. Like if an axe murderer want to come and kill us in our cabin, it's like a horror movie. We have no cell phone or no internet or even to call anybody. And then when we try to leave to go out on our first expedition, we got stuck going up the driveway because he couldn't get his car to go up. So it took him like 10 tries to get his car to go up. And I'm like, see?
Is it four-wheel drive?
I don't know if he has four-wheel drive. At that point, I don't think it would have helped just how the gravel was with all the rain. And I'm like, this is exactly, we couldn't escape if we tried. If an axe murderer came, we couldn't even drive away.
Yeah, I know a lot of those places require you to have four-wheel drive in order to rent the cabins, but maybe not this time of year. It's probably not as big a deal. So the rain was just kind of a fluke thing. I don't know, but
I didn't say anything when I rented it, like, hey, just so you know, it's a steep incline. Just like be prepared. If you do have four-wheel drive, I would bring that car. I don't know. There was like none of that.
yeah. Yeah, maybe not all places do that. I don't know. Because they'd lose business.
So I could just picture someone like stalking us, and then we couldn't even call for help, and then we try to like run to the car. We couldn't even drive away because we were stuck down a little gorge. I was like, everything is just adding up to us to get murdered.
I'm so used to the area. I used to work there for years. And so it was just like going home to me. I actually had to stay at work one time because I got caught in a snowstorm out there, and those roads are crazy.
How late were you stuck for?
The whole night. Like I wasn't stuck on the road. I got to work, but once I got there, I'm like, if this doesn't clear up, I'm not going back home because I had like a 50-minute drive. And sure enough, it just kept snowing the whole day. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm staying the night. So I did.
Did you work the next day?
Yeah. It was actually kind of nice though, because where I worked, it was an inn. So they had converted an old inn into massage rooms. So each room was basically like a hotel room. And so I had my own room. And so I just stayed in it, like showered the next morning. And I mean, just like staying at a hotel. It was kind of nice in the evening too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like our TV didn't even work.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I was
What
like,
if there were
cool,
having issues?
what are we gonna do now? And Ryan's like, I guess we have to talk to each other. Yeah, but no internet, like no TV, which is fine because like people are like, what's the point of a TV if you're trying to get away? But for me, I have to have background noise when I sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So even
I
when I go camping, huh?
I don't know how people do that with
Background, oh,
TVs.
I need
I do.
background
I need
noise.
white noise. White
That's
noise.
white noise to me.
I get that.
And even when I go camping, out in the woods, I will download stuff on my phone so I have it and I put my earphones in at night to listen to, not nature. If I have a big animal walking around my tent, I don't want to hear it. So
Yep. Another thing you and Tony have in common.
just need background noise. Like he gets it.
I don't get it, but I think it's because I have a really hard time sleeping. It has to be like the perfect environment for me to fall asleep well. And noise like that just keeps my mind going. But anyway,
Mm,
to each their own.
no, I usually watch murder shows before bed. Um, I can't watch spooky stuff before bed because then I will dream about it. But like murder stuff, for some reason, it's fine.
It was for me up until this last week. And for some reason, all of a sudden, I'm having really bad dreams. Like, maybe I need to lay off the true crime for a bit. I don't know. Here we are.
Well, yeah, I guess since this one has been a deep dive, it's a big true crime one, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited for this one.
Well, it's been a while since we've done an infamous episode.
It's been a while since we've done like a real true story. Like a lot of our stuff has been kind of reactions, which has been fun. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and
And
from
so
the
is Triangle.
title, Triangle.
I told her and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to listen to that." And
Well,
I told her that you got your information from a book. She's like, "Oh, she's actually doing research." I think it's just because like our episodes haven't really been researched lately. I don't know. But I
I
thought
did
that was
tons of
funny.
research with H.H. Holmes.
Yeah.
You know, like, because the audio sucked, so I was like, okay, this time the audio's going to be good. And then when your power went out yesterday, Ryan's like, we'll just have Jess come over and record it here. And I was like, no, I'm not risking that audio again. I'm not doing it.
Ain't no way I was gonna get in my car and leave again once I got home from work either. Like, hell no. I'm home to stay for the evening.
I don't blame you. After work, you just wanted to do nothing.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make bread.
Did you make it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But my
'Cause I think
loaves are really small, so they don't go very far with the men in this household. So Tony actually ended up making another loaf that was like twice as big as mine, but mine was better.
I just think you're
Just
more upset with the power going out that you couldn't make your bread than doing the podcast.
I kept talking about it. Like, I wanted to make bread. Tony's like, well, you better start rubbing two sticks together.
Because you're like, my texts aren't even going through. So you called me, and then we just ended up talking on the phone, and then you just kept talking about your bread.
It's so good, isn't it? I made
It
you a
is
loaf.
good.
You said it was really good.
But you haven't made me bread since I had pneumonia.
I need to make you another loaf. Need to pinch you off a loaf.
Yeah, that was like January. We're in August.
Yeah, I need to get it together.
All right, so are we ready to dive into today's episode?
Yes.
And from the title, we're doing Aileen Wuornos. And unfortunately, I share a birthday with this woman.
Did you tell me that?
Probably, yes. Because I also share a birthday with the Night Stalker too. So apparently I just share a birthday with a whole bunch of serial killers, which is actually the rarest birthday you can get. So how annoying is that?
Are you just gonna snap one day and become a psycho?
I've made it this far in life and I'm doing pretty good. But I chose Aileen because I feel like we mentioned her multiple times on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point where I'm like, okay, I do have like sympathy for her. And I would have sympathy for her still if she stopped after her first victim, because I kind of get why she did what she did the first time. And then after that, I'm like, no, you kind of deserve everything you get. So that totally changed my perspective on her.
Mm. I'm interested to hear this.
She is in fact a true monster.
Wow.
And I don't know how long this is going to be. It's going to be more than one episode. After that, I have no idea. I'm not even done with the research. It's a lot of information. Like I said, it's a big deep dive. It's taken time, and we're going to go full into her.
Yay!
As dirty as that sounds.
It's fitting.
And all my source and stuff, I got my source from Monster, My True Story, and this is Aileen Wuornos' point of view, and it's also with Christopher Berry D. So they get all the credit from, well, I should say he gets all the credit from like the book he wrote. It was mainly just he was getting her perspective on her side of things as well. But you can be the judge if you feel sorry for her or not.
I'm guessing I probably won't. But we'll see.
You will at first, and then you're like, no. And I made Ryan watch the movie with me, which is Charlize Theron, Monster. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Because I saw it when it first came out, and that was early 2000s.
Yeah, that's when I
So,
watched it.
so I wanted to watch it again and just to
Yeah,
see. And
I
it's like
need to.
I should have told you to watch it before we started it, just because to kind of like, it's nice to have a visual too, because I think
Mm-hmm.
she does a fantastic job playing her. And the fact that if you're a gorgeous woman and they have to keep putting makeup on you to make you ugly,
Mm-hmm.
that's a gorgeous woman.
Charlize is my favorite actor, whatever's PC these days.
Ooh,
I
speaking of
love her.
famous people, let's do a little R.I.P. to Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
It's the Prince of Darkness.
Rest in peace.
And did you see that Hulk Hogan died today?
No.
I just saw that he died.
Aw. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So much talent.
So I think 2025 is a tough year for everybody. I've also said that, I think, back in January.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Kind
wonder
of.
if Ozzy, he did his, how he did his farewell tour like a week before he died. So I feel like he knew he was dying. He's like mentioned multiple times, I'm dying, but I feel like he wanted to do that and then was like, all right, you know what? I'm ready. I wonder.
How did he die? That much I don't know.
I
Did he have a
I
heart
don't know
attack
either.
or?
I don't know. I haven't deep dived into that yet. I don't know if they've released it yet. I mean, he was mid 70s and he had Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And I also didn't realize he has like four other kids
Oh,
because
I didn't know that.
he has an older daughter that's a year older than Kelly, because so he has his daughter and then Kelly and then Jack was Sharon, and apparently he was married before and then he had three kids with that marriage. I just read it in passing.
Wow. He was a busy, busy boy.
Yeah, you never understood what he was saying half the time. This is why you don't do
So
drugs,
true.
kids.
Stay in school.
R.I.P. Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Hulk Hogan, so I'm like, okay.
I don't either.
Not that it's not sad that he's dead, but I didn't really know much about him, so.
Yeah, me either. Except that he had really darkly tanned skin and yellow hair. That's about it.
And he wrestled, right?
And he wrestled. Yeah, that's
See?
it. Don't come for us.
You'll
Don't hate us.
still say R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. Wait, R.I.P. Okie dokie. Aileen Wuornos. So in the United States, only 12% of murders are committed by women. That's a really low percent. And 90% of the victims of women who kill are men. And the
Wonder
vast,
why.
sometimes though you get so frustrated and you're like, this is why women kill. Like, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Not that I condone it.
No.
Sometimes I get it. And the vast majority of murders committed by women are usually from crimes of passion.
I feel like most murders are because of that. Like, so many men kill their wives or girlfriends if they decide they want to leave them or something. It's crazy. It's very scary. But anyway.
Yeah, but women with crimes of passion are usually instigated by abuse or jealousy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And women are not, generally, are not as violent or physically aggressive as men. Because there are different social controls on women which offer them less opportunity to be placed in a position to kill. So, like, for instance, they're not just going to be free to roam at night, right? Too many things can happen.
Yep.
You're not going to just do the streets and bars at night by themselves because they're not putting themselves in that position. And usually when they do,
shit goes wrong.
Yes. But as we can see, Aileen, which we're going to call her Lee the rest of the story because that's how she refers to herself as Lee.
Okay.
She was an exception to this.
She had no fear. Right?
Not really. It's like I think she had PTSD, in my opinion, was her fear, and then she just went out of control with it. Okay, she's just a very rare specimen.
Specimen.
And, we don't have a lot of women serial killers. We don't. So Aileen Carol Pittman entered this world on Wednesday, February 29th, 1956. Again, have to share a birthday. I'm also tired of defending my birthday. Like I had to fill in the prescription, right? And it's like automatic. You type in the prescription number to refill it, all that bullshit. And they're like, so this birthday is wrong. So we have to have you talk to somebody because they didn't recognize February 29th as a day. I've had to argue with a cop before. And he told me I needed to get my license changed because there is not 29 days in February. That was a whole thing.
Jeez.
So, anyway, rant over. It just gets a little frustrating sometimes having to defend. February 29th does exist just every 4 years. Just in case no one knows what leap year is, it comes around every 4 years.
Where have you been? If you don't know what leap year is.
People don't. I come across it all the time. And I'm not trying to make fun of them or anything, but people legit don't know. So yeah, she was born February 29th, 1956 at Clinton Hospital, Detroit in Rochester, Michigan. Her parents were a 14-year-old Diane Wuornos. Some say she was 16, some say she was 14. And 19-year-old handyman Leo Dale Pittman. Many claim that Leo was a highly sexual pervert, child molester, and a dictatorial figure who carried guns.
This is all painting a picture already.
Yep. The marriage between Diane and Leo proved to be extremely toxic and was destined for failure since the very beginning. The marriage had ended a few months before Lee was born, and Leo left Diane to raise the new baby and her older brother, Keith. Lee never knew her genetic father, who was soon jailed on the capital charges of kidnapping and raping a 7-year-old girl and taking her across state lines.
Off with his head. The end.
Yeah, so like I said, you're going to feel sorry for her in the beginning because look who her father is, and it just gets worse from here.
Man, it's a tale as old as freaking time, too. It happens so often, and it just ruins lives forever.
Mm-hmm. And there is some evidence to suggest that he also killed a young girl. And Leo was to spend some time in 2 secure mental hospitals. And in 1971, while he was in Michigan prison, he fashioned a noose from a bed sheet and then he hanged himself.
Good. Bye.
And so Diane found the responsibilities of a single motherhood unbearable and welfare would not help her, and she sought what seemed to be her only way out. In 1960, when Lee was 4 years old, she asked her parents to babysit her kids, and then she would later call them to say that she would never return. So we have Aileen Wuornos, which is Lee's grandfather. He was a worker in the Ford factory, and his wife, so her grandmother, Aileen and Britta Wuornos, already had 3 youngsters of their own, Barry, Lori, and then, of course, Diane. But Diane took off. Said, bye.
Bitch.
Yeah, so Lee's grandparents officially adopted Lee and her brother on March 18th, 1960. And it was said by near neighbors they were never once invited to set foot inside, even for casual pleasantries. They recall the curtains always being tightly drawn across the small windows of the Wuornos house, and it was common knowledge that the Wuornos and his wife kept the outside world very much at arm's length. They minded their own business and expected everyone to attend to their own business. Around the age of 6.
That's the kind of neighbors I want. Mind your business, I'll mind mine. All is well.
Yeah, but they don't sound like great people, so.
Well, just that little part, okay? Just
Okay.
that little part.
Dude, if I was your neighbor, I'd be knocking on your door every day.
I'd be so pissed.
Just like look
Get a
in
big
your
iron
windows.
door.
Look in your windows and like, I see you, Jessica.
You see me open my coffin and sit up, flip you off, lay back down.
I'll be like, oh shit, the sun hasn't set yet. Yeah, she's still laying in your coffin. Anywho.
If you're new here, welcome.
Jess is a vampire that never leaves her house, if you're new here.
Except I do like every day, pretty much.
Well, because she has to like make money somehow, so she has to go to work.
Yeah.
Not prostitution.
Not a lady of the night.
She's not Aileen Wuornos. Ooh, you're a whole different lady of the night.
Yeah. That's
all I got.
Except I go to bed super early usually.
What time do you go to bed?
I try to not go to bed past 11.
Oh, that's not early.
It used to be way earlier, but because of my work schedule now, I don't have to be at work until 10:30. So I've been pushing it a little later. But I used to go to bed at like 9 o'clock. 8 sometimes.
Before I met Ryan, I tried to be in bed by 11. Even if I would just watch TV in bed, I tried to like be in my bed by 11. And then after I met Ryan, when he was bartending at the time, that just ruined my sleep schedule. So we didn't go to bed till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And then now he has a different job, he has to get up early, so we're usually trying to be in bed by like 10.
Yeah, that's good.
I've been all over the place.
Tony's a lady of the night.
Not a man, but a lady.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever change. His internal clock, it just won't reset itself. Like he's just nocturnal. But anyway, at least he's not out hoeing around or like sucking people's blood.
That you know of. Because you're in bed by 11. Who knows what he's doing?
But I'm a very light sleeper.
But see, listen, if I was your neighbor, I could get my binoculars and spy and see if he leaves the house. You got benefits for me being a neighbor.
Not creepy at all.
Listen, I accept it. It's fine.
Sounds like my grandma. She's got binoculars to scope out the scene.
My parents have binoculars, and I'll sit outside by their pool and I'll like look in the binoculars and spy at the neighbors and see what I can see. See?
Super creepy.
It's fine. At least I don't kill people, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Anywho.
Anyway.
Around the age of 6, Lee started causing problems at home when she started taking an unhealthy interest in matches. And one
Oh.
day, while trying to start a fire with lighter fluid, she suffered scarring facial burns. So obviously we know Lee's grandparents, Lori raised her and her brother with their own children, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Barry and Lori, with their own children, Barry and Lori, but they did not reveal that they were in fact her grandparents. So they kind of lied to her about that. It was said that her grandfather was a heavy drinker and they did clash a lot. And there was a wide brown leather belt that her grandfather kept hanging on a peg behind his bedroom door. And Lee later claimed that at his bidding, this strap was cleaned almost every day. Sorry. Lee later claimed that this strap was cleaned almost every day by her with a saddle, soap, and conditioner, which were kept in the dresser drawer. Dresser drawer. She claimed she was forced to bend, stripped naked, over the kitchen table, and was beaten frequently with a doubled over belt. Sometimes she lay face down, spread eagled naked on her bed to receive her whippings, while all the while her grandfather, aka adoptive father, screamed that she was worthless and should never have been born.
That's not going to do any damage at all. Jesus.
No. You ain't even worthy of the air you breathe, he would shout as the belt lashed down again and again. And it was actually the age of 12, it was actually at the age of 11, Lee had the shock of her life when she learned that Lori and Britta were her grandparents, and so she felt completely deceived.
So she wasn't born a monster. She was made into a monster by circumstance. Which...
This is definitely a nurture versus nature situation where I think if she was raised differently, she would have turned out a different person.
Yes.
Or I should say, this is where, yeah, or I should say, this is where nurture takes over nature here. I think she could have been a completely different person if she had the right tools to start her life with, and she didn't. So since she felt completely deceived that her grandparents lied to her, she became uncontrollable. She would have verbal explosions, which are unpredictable, and it just kept driving like a further wedge between her and her adoptive parents. They just kept getting farther apart. Her adopted father, the man she says had so brutalized her as a helpless child, the man who had claimed to be her dad for all those years, was a twisted fraud. So we will see later on that she would take out her hatred for him on many of the men she would meet in the future and use the tool that she had at her disposal, and that was sex. And this is one of Aileen's direct quote. My mother plucked me out of her belly and left me with my grandparents. We never knew the damned whore. We never saw her again except for funerals. I spit on her. She can go to hell. Our mother shit-canned us 2 kids. The motherfucking bitch whore sent us in a handbasket to hell. My stepfather would beat me often after school or if I came home late. He'd make me cut down a willow branch and he'd use that. I soon learned that the thicker the branch, the less it hurt. Sometimes he used to beat me with a belt and then he made me clean it.
Awful.
She's not mad at all. Lee was a heavy drinker by the age of 12, which is really sad to say. And on occasion, she woke from a drunken state to find dried semen stains all over her clothing.
Oh, God. I was actually just going to say I'm amazed that she wasn't assaulted, but I guess she was.
And on another occasion at a party, other children watched as 2 boys took her while she lay drunk and curled up in the feral position on the floor.
Aww.
Sydney Shovin, a former schoolmate of Lee's who also grew up 2 blocks from her, he said, looking back at those days, Lee always had bruises on her arms, cheeks, and chin. And everyone knew she was sexually active with her brother Keith. In fact, Keith was teased. Yeah. Keith was teased by the local kids about having sex with Lee while they were both drunk. And Lee does admit that she was having sex with her brother at an early age, but how early, we don't know. Cynthia Shovin, which is Sydney's brother, Cynthia Shovin, so Sydney's brother, who was a grade higher than Lee, said that they all used to congregate at a place called the Pits. And one time, Lee was dumped from a moving van and fell badly on her head, and no one attended to help her. She said, I guess no one liked her that much. And Lee was pretty much a loner amongst her peers. And while other kids sat around kissing and cuddling, Lee would just watch them. No boys wanted to kiss her, but they would buy sexual favors from her in exchange for cigarettes. So thereafter, Lee became known as the cigarette pig or the cigarette bandit. And teachers found Lee to be a poor student, but she did have some artistic talent. It was said that she could not concentrate and her mind wandered, and she seemed to have a convenient hearing problem. Don't we all? By the age of
legit.
mine's
Too much metal
selective.
music.
By the age of 14, the staff were so concerned by her behavior that in one instance she set fire to a roll of toilet paper in a school washroom. Then a teacher wrote, it is vital for the girl's welfare that she seeks counseling immediately. And then nothing came of that, so she never got counseling. But she did have one other friend, a man named Mr. Portlock. He was nicknamed Chief. Hookers would visit him frequently, and he was said to be a creepy guy. He lived in a rundown house close by, and he had a reputation as an unsavory character. Tony Nazar, who was employed as a housekeeper, claimed Portlock was a strange, weird man who had cancer. And Lee didn't have a record player at home, so Portlock encouraged her to play her albums at his house while he would sit around leering at her as she danced. Then, with the young girl on his lap, he would fuss over her and he would give her money. Ugh. During her freshman year, a chemical explosion, which Lee and a friend accidentally set off, resulted in her sustaining severe burns on her face and arms. And she was hospitalized for several days and confined for months afterwards. And the burns healed slowly, but Lee worried that she would be deformed and scarred for life.
Jeez. Yeah. This is intense.
Told you. One Christmas, her grandfather threw her out in the snow, so she lived in the woods with a guy for 2 days before she returned home. Then her grandfather threw her out again, so she would sleep in abandoned cars. And following this, and tired of freezing and having nowhere to stay, she ran away for a period of time with a girlfriend called Dawn Botkins. They hitchhiked to California, and Dawn would remain Lee's closest friend until the day she was executed. The two girls.
Alert.
Well, if you listen to our last meals on death row, she was on death row. The two girls would sometimes hitchhike to Hawthorne Park in Detroit, visiting the extremely dangerous 7-mile road, where they would buy drugs for Lee, and she used them all, including downers. Lee became pregnant, and some claim it was by her grandfather or her brother Keith. And so she was sent to an unmarried mother's home to await the birth of her child. The staff found her hostile, uncooperative, and unable to get along with the other girls that were in the same boat. And Lee gave birth to a baby boy in 1971, and he was put up for adoption.
Do you know what happened to him?
If it talks about later in the book, I'll let you know. I'll include it in here, but as of this moment, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far.
Okay.
Yeah. So the stigma of having a pregnant teenage granddaughter proved to be the last straw with Lori, her grandfather. He threatened to kill Lee and Keith if they did not leave his house forever. And there were terrible arguments between strict disciplinarian Lori and Britta, who was more understanding. So it caused them to fight a lot. Then on July 7th of the same year, under somewhat sinister circumstances, Britta Wuornos died, and for whatever reason, the man's mind became unhinged. Bizarrely, he attempted suicide by trying to electrocute himself by flooding his basement and standing knee-deep in water with the power on, and shortly afterwards he moved home, and some years later after that he did succeed in taking his own life.
Wow. I just couldn't imagine if I decided I wanted to take my own life to do it that way.
No, so his second attempt, he gassed himself in his garage, and Lee was the one that found his body. And
Another
at his
scar.
yeah, and at his funeral, she turned up only to blow cigarette smoke into the corpse's face.
Oh my God. I mean, can't blame her.
No, I'm surprised he didn't show up at all, but
I'm surprised she didn't try to set his body on fire.
oh, too many witnesses for that. So at her murder trial, Barry Wuornos, which her uncle, so aka adopted brother, was called to the witness stand to be questioned by the counsel for the accused, and he was faced several searching questions as to Lee's early days. So Barry started by stating that, quote, "It was a normal lifestyle, a pretty straight and narrow family. Very little trouble in the family while Aileen was growing up. They picked her up when I would say she was 2 years old. Father was a kind of a disciplinarian." So it's like he's kind of giving a different story of what happened. I just wanted to include that. If he's telling the truth or not, I don't know. And then so he was asked, "What was your impression of your father?" He said, "While he was a strong character, a gentleman, laid down strong rules." And then asked, "Did you ever see him beat her? Was he the kind of man who would beat a child?" And he responded, "Absolutely not." And then asked, "Would you describe her grandfather as being abusive?" He said, "Not at all. Normal spankings, but the general rule was grounding for 2 or 3 days." And then asked, I don't know.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because there was a point where she does recant, like, that never happened.
Oh.
So I don't know, but it's very something harsh to make up. And so maybe she just said it never happened because she's embarrassed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it happened to make her how she is. But this is just the other side of the story, just to put in here. And then they asked, "Well, after you left for the service, did you stay in touch with Miss Wuornos?" And then he said, "Well, I stayed in contact with my mom and dad." And then asked, "Did your mother and father provide her with a home, shelter, food, and clothing?" He said, "Oh, yes." He began to question the period during which Lee had been badly burned, and then asked, "Was medical care denied to Miss Wuornos?" And he said, She did go to the doctor for a period of 8 months and received salves. Mom took care of those things. She was a very quiet, studious, laid-back woman, very in the background, much easier going than my father, and no punishment of any kind came from her. And then asked, was Aileen treated differently than any of the rest? He said, not that I ever saw. One time she was going to be spanked and she brought up the fact that she was adopted and she said, don't lay your hands on me, you're not even my real dad. From that time, I never saw any attempts on the part of my dad to physically spank her. So, I don't know.
Could go either way, really.
And maybe Barry didn't even witness it. Maybe they were doing it when he wasn't around. You know, I don't know, but he claimed it never happened. He could also just be defending his father.
It's true.
He could be loyal to his father, so.
Yeah. That happens a lot too.
So on hearing the sad news about her father, Diane Wuornos, again, Lee's mother, invited Lee and Keith to stay with her in Texas, but they declined. Lee, although now a ward of the court, dropped out of school, left home, and took up a feral existence, a life of hitchhiking and prostitution, drifting across the country. She wanted to start a new life down south. Taking little more than the clothes she wore, she only carried a few possessions in a bag. In her mind, Lee had all the necessary skills required of the profession that was calling her. She had good looks, a tough spirit, a neat figure, a cheeky smile, the morals of an alley cat, and a strong right hook. She knew what men wanted from her, and she would do well out of any gullible guy who crossed her path. And so it makes me wonder, like, is this what you thought about yourself, since these were the words you used to describe yourself?
Yeah.
You know? In 1974, using the alias Sandra Krisesh, she was jailed in Jefferson County, Colorado for disorderly conduct, drunk driving, and firing a .22 caliber pistol from a moving vehicle. Additional charges were filed when she skipped bail ahead of her trial. And in March 1976, she's now 20 years old, she married a multi-millionaire, Louis Gratz-Fell.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Really? Or is she lying?
No, she married him.
Well, I mean, not to be shallow, but she had to be good looking.
That's what I'm like. People do comment that she was a good looking woman. So I'm like, maybe she was good looking because the movie portrays her to be this monster. So I think they try to make her more ugly than she is.
It's probably a lot to do with what she went through. Like, oh, I see the papas.
Do you behind me?
Yeah. I see
Bentley. Yeah, Bentley's laying on a massage table.
He's so cute. But like getting beaten maybe, and didn't she get burned on her face?
Yeah, she has scars from being burned.
She probably was pretty, and then just the wear and tear of time and circumstance just.
Yeah, because at her trial, you're like, ooh, I mean, she doesn't look good. But then again, what she went through, I think, wore her down a bit.
A lot of criminals that happens to, especially after they're imprisoned. Like, they just look like completely different people than when they went in. Like that Lori Vallow bitch. I don't know if you know her or not. She's the one that killed both of her kids, and she was like a Mormon of some kind. And she claimed that it was for religious purposes. But she was beautiful. And then she did like an interview or something after years of being incarcerated. Hardly recognizable. Like, she did not even look like the same person. It's crazy.
Well, it's amazing how life and situations can stress you and make you a lot older than you are.
Yeah, when I was going through a bunch of shit a few months ago,
I was just about to say that. Like, girl, you okay?
Yeah.
You don't look good.
It's crazy.
And you shouldn't comment on people, but I'm like, you don't look good.
We're close enough that it's fine.
You look great now.
Well, thanks. So do you.
Ugh.
Just have a certain glow about you these days. I don't know what it is.
Shut up. Yeah. So 20 years old, she marries this multimillionaire. Why
That's
don't you just,
so wild. I did not know this.
I mean, neither. And I was reading this, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, your life could have been fine right there.
And if you're new here, half the time we say Fook for Montana's mom, but the other half of the time we forget. So if you hear us say Fook, that's why.
Um, Also, when I am going to quote a lot of her stuff, it's not going to be so PG, as you
Okay.
can see.
Well, disclaimer, maybe we can put one of those out there on our social medias or something. This is not PG.
No, I should have put a trigger warning in the beginning, so I'm just going to do a trigger warning now. It's a little late to the show, but
One of the
it's
chicks I
going to
watch
get
on
graphic.
YouTube, yeah, I believe it. But every video she does a disclaimer at the beginning, and she's like, just so you know, this content is not for children. It's adults only. So.
I know, sometimes I haven't listened to Morbid in a while, but like sometimes I was listening to them. They're like, oh, I love you and my kids love you. I listen with my 12-year-old. I'm like, you let your 12-year-old listen to the things they say? And they cuss a lot. Like the F word's like their favorite word. They use it every other word. But it's not so much that, it's just the fact that what they talk about. This is like, we're gonna get pretty graphic later on. So is this like a 12-year-old listening to that? Like, no, I
Get
don't
out of
think
here.
I don't think that's appropriate.
If you're under 18, get out of here. Well, 16. If you're under 16, get the hell out of here.
God, we sound so old.
Yeah, that's okay. We are old. It's a privilege. Didn't
It's
you
true.
know?
Getting old's a gift. Okay. Yeah, so this Mr. Multi-millionaire Louis Gratz Fell, he offered Lee his hand in marriage, which she accepted in a heartbeat. And after buying her a very expensive engagement ring, they married in Kingsley, Georgia. The wedding took place less than 2 months. Yeah, the wedding took place less than 2 months after her death of Lee's 65-year-old grandfather, of the death of Lee's 65-year-old grandfather. And this multi-millionaire, he was 69 years old when he picked Lee up while she was hitchhiking. He was well connected and kept a plastic business card case containing all his contacts, which included judges, attorneys, state's attorneys, and police officers, and those are just to name a few.
Wow.
Again, she's 20, he is 69, you do the math.
It's starting to make a little more sense now.
No one understood this marriage, but for his part, Louis had a pretty young woman on his arm and in his bed, while Lee enjoyed the fruits of what his money could buy. So that seems to be their situation.
Their arrangement. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. To each their own, but that wouldn't be the life for me.
Like people younger than us that date like Al Pacino and Mel Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. Plus, I hear Mel Gibson's a dick in real life anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
Boo.
One night, Lee, against her husband's wishes, decided to go out on the town while Louis stayed home to watch TV. You sure you couldn't marry him? After visiting a few bars, she ended up at Bernie's Club in Mansalona, where she flaunted her body and started to hustle at the pool table. She wore an off-the-shoulder top, a micro miniskirt, and a thigh-high boots. Sometime after midnight, this is where I'm like, I don't know if she was that ugly,
Damn, girl, you shit with that ass. If you know, you know.
Hey, she could have been a butterface for all we know. Who knows?
True.
Sometime after midnight, the barman and manager Danny Moore decided he had seen enough of her because she was drunk, rowdy, shouting obscenities, uttering threats to other patrons, and generally being objectionable.
Girl.
Friday night, am I right?
What is that from?
What?
Friday night, am I right? Is
Oh, I
that
don't
from
know. Is that?
something?
I don't know. I
It
just
sounded like a voice from something. Friday night, am I right?
maybe. Maybe I subconsciously had it in my brain from somewhere.
Possibly. I
It's,
don't
I
know.
had no idea. But it was more like just casual Friday night, like no one else does this. So Danny casually walked over to the game and announced that the table was closing down. As he was gathering up the balls, he heard someone shout, "Duck!" He turned just in time to see Lee aim a cue ball at his head. It missed him only by inches, but the missile had been hurled with such force that it became lodged in the wall.
Did she throw it or like use the pool? What is that called? Pool stick? Pool cue? No. Is it just a pool stick?
I
Like,
think
did
she
she
threw
chop
it.
it with the stick? Oh,
I
I'm gonna
think she
say
threw it
that's
because it was,
impressive.
yeah, because it almost hit him in the head. So I feel like she had to toss it, and by toss I mean like throw it as hard as she could.
Damn. Violence.
Yeah,
Gosh, for no reason.
she's a mean drunk.
Shame. Shameful.
And so she was arrested for assault and battery and was hauled off to jail, as she should be.
Yeah, get control of yourself, girl. Come on.
She was also charged on fugitive warrants from the Troy Police Department, who had requested that she be picked up on charges of drinking alcohol in a car, unlawful use of a driver's license, and not having a Michigan driver's license. She was bailed when a friend turned up with her purse containing $14,000, which was her husband's money. And
He's not
unfortunately,
gonna put up with this shit for long, I have a feeling.
obviously not. And unfortunately, 3 days later, her brother Keith was only 21 and he died of throat cancer.
Wow.
And Keith was cremated at the same funeral home as Britta and Lori Wuornos, again, her grandparents. And Lee arrived late for the service, but in time to place a rose in his hands. And then Diane, Lee's mother, flew in from Texas for Keith's funeral, and other mourners were surprised to see her, apparently too distraught to sit through the service for the son she had abandoned. So back to the marriage. Lee's desire in this marriage was to get drunk and hang out in bars, and she was feeling long periods of abject boredom, sitting around at her aged husband's feet in his plush beachside condominium, their eyes glued to TV programs about trains, boats, and the stock market. Yeah, you're dating an old man. Sawyer's stretching so you can like hear her claws licking stuff.
Oh.
And there goes Bentley. So Lewis, seeing these problems, tried the well-tested and universally approved "I am older than you, please respect your elders" trick. Lee responded by punching him in the face and giving him a black eye.
Yeah, I saw that one coming.
So Lewis tried another approach that had worked with his late wife and the other two before that.
Wow.
He would cut, 69, girl, 69. He would cut Lee's allowance, and if that failed, he would not give her any money at all.
At some point, you'd think people would just stop getting married after so many attempts, you know? Like, just date. Just coexist. You don't have to get married.
Yeah, but he's probably like, oh, this young thing is interested in me. She's like 20 years old.
Yeah.
She's giving me sex. Like,
Man, if I had a bunch of money and I was in a situation like that, I would not be like, "Bitch, you think I'm gonna marry you? You crazy? No way." But you can hang out.
I couldn't do it personally. That's a no-go for me. But yeah, you think, first of all, I don't know why you would think that would work. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna cut her allowance. So then she'll have to do what I say. If it's like if you're 20 years old, the thing I would do is the opposite of what you tell me to do.
exactly. As soon as the words "respect your elders" came out of his mouth, no, I would have been done.
So
And that would have been
after, yeah, so
tell me
after
what to do. Sorry. God damn it.
so after considering the plan overnight, breakfast came. Dressed in his gown, his feet warm in his furry slippers, he got as far as saying, "I will stop your allow," when she beat him up with his walking cane
Jesus.
and pointed a meat skewer uncomfortably close to his throat.
So she's like escalating, slowly escalating.
But even we knew that was coming.
Yeah.
He couldn't even get the sentence out. She beat him with his own cane.
Oh man.
And after this incident, he obtained a restraining order to prevent any battering and sought an annulment of the marriage, claiming she had squandered his money and given him several damn good thrashings into the bargain. And Lee pawned the expensive diamond engagement ring he had given her. Like,
What?
to be fair, I would do the same thing. So,
I mean, yeah, probably.
and their marriage officially ended on July 18th, 1977, with a divorce issue at the Vulcia County Courthouse in Florida. Don't come for me. And on August 4th, 1976, Lee pleaded guilty to the assault and battery charge, paying a fine of $105.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
I'll
But
be damned.
but then came an unexpected windfall. Keith's Army life insurance paid up, and as next of kin, Lee received $10,000. The money was immediately put down as a deposit on a shiny black Pontiac, which would be soon repossessed. Repossessed, not possessed. She also bought a mixed bag of antiques and a massive stereo system, and although she had no home in which to put them, Lee blew all the money within 3 months.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So for a while in 1981, she lived in a mobile home with a retired businessman who was separated from his wife. Lee was quick-tempered, he said, but he found her warm, loving, and resourceful. She did all that she could to please him, and he recalled that when the vacuum cleaner broke down, she replaced it with a new one the very same night. But she
Oh.
stole it from a nearby hotel.
And some towels too.
Probably. But Lee was deeply in love with him. But one night they got in a big fight, and Lee woke up the next morning still angry, feeling that he might just be like all the others who had taken advantage of her over the years. She took his car, bought a six-pack of beer, and then stopped at a pawn shop to buy a pistol and some bullets. She drove for hours, despondent and contemplating suicide, but instead of turning the gun on herself, she held up the Majik Market in Edgewater, Florida, while dressed in shorts and a bikini top. I walked up to the counter and put my purse on it. The handle of my gun was sticking out, and the woman started screaming like hell about how I was going to rob the store. She freaked out, and I said, "What the hell? You want a robbery? Then I'll rob your store. Give me your money."
I'm surprised she didn't just blow her head off for screaming like that.
Seriously. The clerk handed me $33 from the cash register. I walked out of the store real slowly because I was so drunk and I couldn't find my keys. I sat in the car for 3 minutes looking for them. Then I drove away and started hauling ass down the highway. Then the radiator blew and I had to stop, and these kids helped me push it to a gas station. I was wearing one of those country hats and I took that off in the shorts, so I was just in my bikini. I was trying to alter my description, and that's when the fucking cops arrived. And then she would later add, in order to test his love for me, I held up a convenience store. If he loved me, he would have gotten me out of that fix. I don't give a fuck.
I don't either, girl. I don't either. That's not true at all, actually.
So Russell Armstrong was the criminal defense attorney who represented Lee on the charges of armed robbery in the 1981 store fanatic, and he found 25-year-old Lee bright but suicidal and asked the judge to order a psychiatric say it for me.
Psychiatric.
Thank you. Elevation prior to the trial.
Psychiatric.
Psychiatric. See, I still can't say it. And Dr. George W. Barnard examined Lee and arrived at the following conclusion.
I thought you were going to say Dr. George W. Bush.
Dr. George W. Barnard. Bush was long gone. No, he wasn't. What am I saying? Jesus. I was thinking Washington.
I didn't think it was him. I just thought it was a coincidence that his name was George W. Bush too, but he was a doctor. Anyway.
This is his conclusion. The prisoner is a 25-year-old white divorced female who has an appreciation of the charges against her, and she says she does not know the range and nature of the possible penalties. She understands the advisory nature of the legal process and has capacity to disclose to attorney pertinent facts surrounding the alleged offense, to relate to attorney, to assist attorney in planning her defense, to realistically challenge prosecution witnesses, to manifest appropriate courtroom behavior, to testify relevantly, to cope with the stress of incarceration prior to trial, and is motivated to help herself in the legal process. It is my medical opinion the defendant is competent to stand trial, was legally sane at the time of the alleged crime, and does not meet the criteria for involuntary hospitalization. He's so...
Yikes.
Lee was sent to the Florida Correctional Center on May 4th, 1982, where she was disciplined 6 times for fighting and disobeying orders. Released on June 30th, 1983, she went to live with a middle-aged man named Thomas Sheldon, who was one of several prison pen pals. And then Tom immediately realized that she had problems. He tried to get psychiatric. Oh my god. He tried to get
psychiatric
help for her, but the clinic he contacted refused to admit her for treatment when she claimed, quite wrongly, that her problems were all his fault. And after a few months, he sent her back to Florida. Bye!
Peace.
In January 1984, Lee drifted just south of Daytona Beach, where she moved in with a retired truck driver for a few months. 2 men came and dropped her off one day, he would later tell reporters. She needed a quiet place to stay. She cleaned and cooked. I wanted somebody quiet because it's a quiet neighborhood. She seemed bitter somehow, but she always put herself together. She could have taken advantage of me if she had wanted. She did have a temper, but was a pretty girl. And later...
I can't imagine her being quiet, ever. I don't know.
She obviously has a anger problem.
Yeah.
And on May 1st, 1984, Lee was arrested for attempting to pass a forged check at the Barnett Bank in Key West, Florida, and she had forged her employer's signature on 2 checks. One was for $5,000 and the other was for $595. She was bailed, and 2 years later, she pleaded guilty to forgery after the prosecution agreed to drop related charges, and the sentencing was set for April 30th, 1986. And obviously, she did not show up, and then the warrant was issued for her arrest. They keep giving her passes, I feel like, because she hasn't showed up multiple times, but you keep giving her that pass.
Yeah, she's very predictable.
Yeah. And on November 30th, 1985, she was named as a suspect in the theft of a pistol and ammunition in Pasco County. The victim was a man who had given her a few nights' board and lodgings in return for sex. And during this year, she had her first recorded lesbian affair with an Italian woman named Tony in the Florida Keys.
I told you Tony was a lady of the night.
Maybe it's Tony. Tony was alive in 1985, right?
He was 5.
If he's a vampire, it doesn't matter. The relationship was passionate, but there was frequent jealousies and physical violence, and Tony and Lee had traveled to Orlando and purchased equipment to start a steam cleaning firm, and Lee said that it was her own earnings that had paid for it.
That is hilarious. I'm sorry. Like, Tony used to steam clean.
That's right. I totally forgot. See, it's adding up. It's adding up. And Tony has like the curly long hair.
Not anymore.
And Tony's Italian.
Mm-hmm. Things are adding up here.
He's a vampire.
Suspicious.
Maybe this is why he turned to women, because like she ruined the whole lesbian for him. Tony, she was like a really good friend, Lee recalled. I wasn't alone anymore. I wanted to stay with her. And after several months, Lee says she came home to find Tony, the cleaning equipment, and all of her possessions gone. The only items left behind were a fan and a phone bill for $485.
Ooh, burn.
Yeah, because Tony left her to get with Jessica, so. She was using me. I was so upset about losing a business that I've had for the rest of my life. And then shortly after this situation, Lee borrowed the alias of Laura Grody from her aunt in Michigan, and 11 days later, the Florida Highway Patrol cited Grody for driving with a suspended license. And on January 4th, 1986, her rap sheet shows she was arrested in Miami under her own name and charged with auto theft, resisting arrest, and obstruction by giving false information.
Predictable.
She's getting a rap sheet. And police found a .30 caliber revolver and a box of ammunition in the stolen car. And so she was bailed, and guess what she did? She vanished.
Poof, like a fart in the wind.
And later that same year of 1986, Volusia County, deputies questioned Lee after a male companion accused her of pulling a gun on him and demanding $200. And in spite of her denying this, Lee was carrying a spare ammunition in her pockets, and a .22 caliber pistol was found underneath the passenger seat she had occupied.
I'm sorry, $200? Come on. If you're gonna go to those links, at least ask for more.
Like, can you imagine holding up a gun? Give me $200.
Give me 50 cents. Son of a bitch.
God damn it, I'll already blow your head off.
I gotta get groceries. Out at Aldi.
So she got $200. She can up it. No, you're right. That won't get too far these days.
Not these days. Back then, I mean, yeah.
I'm going to Aldi. Give me $200, chunk. And she was charged with grand theft auto, grand theft, and carrying a concealed firearm. Grand theft auto.
That new game's coming out next year, I think.
Yeah, the auto just slipped out there because I used to play that game.
That is a great game.
And again, she failed to appear in court, and another search warrant became outstanding. So
How many is that now?
let's just go with like 10. I don't know. I lost count.
Dang.
A week later, using the new alias of Susan Blahovic, she was ticketed for speeding in Jefferson County, Florida, and the citation included a telling observation. Attitude poor. She thinks she is above the law.
I was just gonna say, like, she really doesn't give two shits.
No.
At
And
all.
it still gets worse.
Oh, I believe it.
And later that year, she was arrested in Dade County for grand larceny and resisting arrest, but don't know how the charges were dropped.
How the hell does she keep getting away with this stuff? It's so wild.
So we're
I
still
wouldn't. My ass would be rotting in some jail cell somewhere
with
for
our
beating up
luck.
somebody for
Well,
$200.
especially your luck, if you like held up a gun to a guy's head and was like, "Give me $200," a police officer would be just happen to be walking by and be like, "Drop the weapon."
Yep.
That would happen to you.
Very accurate, I'm sure.
You'd be like, "Son of a bitch. I just wanted to go to Aldi. I needed some money." So, still in the same year, 1986, Lee meets 24-year-old Tyra Jolie Moore, or Ty, at a Daytona gay bar. And in the movie, it's Christina Ricci's character.
I like that name for a girl. Ty. That's cute.
Not after this.
Probably not.
And this is what she said. It was love beyond the imaginable. Earthly words could not describe how I felt about Tyra. I thought Tyra must be taken care of, as she herself had never been. The only reason I hustled so hard all those years was to support her. I did what I had to do to pay the bills because I didn't have another choice.
She was the one. Right?
Yes.
Like the one.
She was the one.
From the movie.
Mm-hmm. She's
well,
also the one that kind of brings her to her demise.
I can't remember. I should have watched the movie before this, but...
Well, you still can. You have another week.
Yeah, that's true.
I had warrants out for my arrest. I loved her too much. Then the fucking bitch sold me down the river. I hate that bitch.
Damn, girl.
And Lee was still on the run after passing forged checks, and it is reported that Tyra had received an insurance payout resulting from a car accident and was well away from her hometown of Cadiz, Ohio. Cadiz, Ohio. Have you heard of that? Cadiz.
Yes. That is
where?
Like,
how do you say it? So how do you say it? Cadiz? Cadiz?
I think it's Cadiz.
Well, that's where she's from.
Cadiz.
So Ty is from Cadiz, Ohio. Of course she's from Ohio.
Yeah, and that is right around Cambridge, Ohio.
Crazy.
Yeah. That is crazy.
She was working as a laundry maid at a motel and living with her friend, Cammie Green, who had taken her in after she was evicted from her apartment. And it was said that Mr. and Miss Green were good people. They were law-abiding Sunday barbecue folk who always went out of their way to help their neighbors. They baked cakes, and they were very well liked. Tyra and we were good friends, Miss Green told reporters, at least until we met Aileen. My husband and I finally asked him to leave because we didn't want their lifestyle in our house. Lee had not only told Tyra that she had a steam cleaning business, but also had told the same lie to the Greens. She would go off to work carrying a briefcase. One day, Lee arrived home with a black eye, claiming she had been raped by a stranger for 6 hours, and this made Cammie Green suspicious. While the girls were out, she opened the briefcase and discovered it was full of condoms and men's business cards. She tried to warn Tyra, She tried to warn Tyra, but the truth was Tyra already knew that Lee was a hooker, and she found it exciting. And on the day she left, and as repayment for the Greens' hospitality, Lee stole Cammie's identification, including her driver's license. To keep Tyra's love and companionship, Lee dove herself into more and more hours of prostitution. Because I remember in the movie, Christina Ricci said something like, "Are you a prostitute?" And then like she got offended, and she's like, "No, I just can't believe that like people want to pay money to be with you. Like that's awesome."
Wow, what a bitch.
Meaning like I can't believe people want to pay money to be with you. Like they want to be with you, so they pay money. It was a compliment.
Oh, I thought she was saying she can't believe people will pay to be with her because she's nasty.
No, like it was a compliment. Like these people want to be with you, and they pay you, so you'll be with them, type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was kind of in awe about the situation.
Yeah. Like I said
Gotcha.
earlier, she found it exciting. Lee invested a lot of time in Tyra, who was a born-again Baptist with close ties to the Calvary Baptist Church, where she had actually been recently baptized. Tyra had attended Bible study lessons and sometimes babysat for the Reverend David Loeffner, who had become her friend as well as her minister. And Tyra met with limited success in sharing her religious beliefs with Lee, who knew the Bible and could recite scripture, but whose actions were so often in conflict with Tyra's more traditional background, even more so with the Bible itself.
It makes
Tyra,
sense that she has a more traditional background like that based on where she's from.
yeah, and being gay is not okay.
Yeah. Which is, again, no wonder she left.
Yeah. Tyra became born again in 1984, just 2 years before the two women met, but Tyra was from a God-fearing family, and she had her own conflicts with scripture because she was now living in a lesbian relationship. And for a while, Lee and Tyra lived together at a motel, but their money was scarce, and in the spring of 1987, Tyra approached a friend she had known from church and asked if she could rent a room on the understanding that Lee and her would sleep in separate beds. The scriptures, the woman said sternly, explicitly forbade homosexual lesbian relationships. The Lord, she recited, wants you to be with a man. That's why they're here. Ugh. And this pissed off Lee and had
No
her
comment.
fill. Yeah, this pissed Lee off and had her fill of what she called Bible thumping and of men. So she flipped out.
Imagine.
Don't try to force me to be with a man. I was married to a man and he beat me. I can't even talk about my father. That's why I am this way, because of men. Even though we know this isn't true, because remember, she beat the man she was married to, not the other way around.
With his own cane.
Yes, with his own cane.
While she was asking him for $200. No, I'm just kidding.
He couldn't even get the sentence out. She just got mad and beat him. Yeah, like, no, you beat him. So your husband was not the way that you are. Your grandfather, if that stuff happened, he definitely had his hand in that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the friend ended up asking the two women to leave her home at once. She liked Tyra, whom she recalled as being all sweet, all smiles, real soft, and wished she could help her, but I'm not holding Lee responsible for what happened to her. She confided to Tyra before they parted company, but I think you should tell her to go her own way. Which is fair. So it seemed like even though that people didn't approve of her lifestyle, they still didn't want her to be with Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they just saw Lee as a bad person. I wonder why.
Yeah.
And for a little while, life was great. Tyra loved Lee and they stayed close, and Lee would even call Tyra her wife. Tyra claimed she quit her job as a motel maid for a while, which meant that Lee supported her with earnings from prostitution. And at first, quitting her job wasn't a major financial setback because Tyra only earned $150 a week, while Lee could earn that much in a day if she worked hard enough. Even though money began to run short, Tyra stayed with Lee, following her like a puppy from cheap motel to cheap motel with stints in old barns or in the woods or anywhere between. Lee often said she liked sex with men, and her sex life with Tyra waned enough for Tyra to complain to her best friend about it.
Trouble in paradise.
And Lee herself said that her greater love for Tyra wasn't sexual. The real driving force in Lee's life wasn't sex at all. It was a search for an emotional bond and love that she had never really had from her abandoning mother, her emotionally and physically abusive grandfather, or it seems from the grandmother who failed to protect her from him, and certainly not from the callous young males who had sex with her while she was an adolescent.
The weirdest shit just happened. And when you edit this, you're gonna probably see my face during this part. I
What?
could just hear somebody growling in my ear.
Ew!
This
I
ear.
did like a full-on growl?
You know how when I make music and I make the kind of growly sounds in the background? It sounded
Yeah.
exactly like that.
Dude, I told you you're cursed.
That is so creepy. What is happening?
Ew.
It was coming through my headset though.
I didn't hear anything.
At first I thought it was you doing something, but it was so creepy. Ugh. Anyway,
No wonder you're getting flies in your house.
I'm telling you, there's a demon among us.
Just keep it over there.
Thank you for your concern, bitch.
When I
I'll
go back and
remember that.
edit, I'll see if I can hear it.
Okay.
Ew,
Yeah,
that's gross.
that was so weird sounding.
Welcome to Weekly Bazaar.
It's weirder every week.
Clearly. So Lee was far more familiar with loss than with love, having lost her brother Keith to cancer and having had her baby son snatched from her after she gave birth. Lee found the deep emotional bond she desperately craved with Tyra. So I think that's why she became so obsessed with her.
Unfortunately, it all does kind of make sense.
And when Lee hit the road searching for Johns, she would pose as a hitchhiker or disabled motorist at highway on and off ramps, and she became an exit-to-exit prostitute. Money was always tight, and they were constantly moving from lodgings to lodgings because they failed to pay the rent. Their existence became more difficult to maintain, and clearly something had to change, but getting out of Daytona was not easy. There was never enough money to get to Miami, and the two women now realized that jobs were scarcer than they had first thought. They had blown all of their money, and their dreams of good times had faded so quickly, and desperation crept in, so temptation was quick to follow. Sometime during the Christmas of 1989 and New Year's 1990, the dates and details are a little sketchy. A man named James Dalla Rosa picked up Lee, who showed him a photo of two children and said that she was a high-class call girl who lived in a $125,000 home. She pulled from her bag a plastic case with various business cards, formerly the property of her ex-husband, Louis Gratz Fell. These are some of my customers, she told James, who felt very uncomfortable with the situation and didn't feel that everything was as advertised. Lee quoted $100 for sex in a motel, $75 for sex in the woods, and $30 for oral in the car rates, mind you, that she kept until she was arrested. So she kept those rates all up till she was taken by the popo.
Wow. Predictable.
Sensing, yeah, sensing that the man had money, she said, "I prefer to go into the woods," Dalla Rosa later testified. When he declined her offer, she became agitated, moving jerkily, bouncing in her seat, snatching at her purse, as he described her behavior. She became angry after I was not receptive to her offer. Her demeanor changed tremendously. He dropped her off near Interstate, where she slammed the door and stormed off. So, as we see a pattern, she becomes angry very quickly. And
Very.
now that they're having trouble keeping up with, a roof over their head, keeping up with money, and she wants to keep up with all this stuff because she wants to keep Tyra in her life. Like, her main focus is to her girlfriend, that you cannot leave me. And so, becoming desperate, and then next time we will get into her very first murder.
Ooh, cliffhanger.
Yeah, because the first murder is, I don't want to add it on this episode because it's the longest one I have, because it's kind of what gave her the PTSD and what had her spiral into more killings. So we're just gonna stop it here.
Okay. Yeah, I vaguely remember some details from that, I think.
And like, going over each victim and then playing who they were in the movie, and seeing some of those men get killed in the movie, how they got killed, was really sad, because some of them weren't even there for prostitution. They were just trying to help her.
Oh,
And they were like begging for their lives, and they have family and grandchildren. It's just,
wow.
it's
Tragic.
sad. So yeah, we will leave it at that. And then next week we'll start with her first murder.
I don't hear the demon anymore. I think he left.
That was weird. Was it
Yeah.
like a full-on loud growl?
And it was long. Like
Give
it
me an
was.
example.
I can't. I have to fake growl and then make sound effects. It's like,
Oh.
like that long at least. Ugh, this gives me chills thinking about it. I don't know what it was.
You opened something.
The portal to hell, most likely. Knowing my luck.
Probably. Which we did talk about going to Moonvale Tunnel. The haunted tunnel near Athens.
Oh, yeah.
That's supposed to be like a portal to hell. But
Athens, man. There's a lot going on.
spoiler alert, we did not.
For another time.
Yeah. Without the dogs.
Yeah.
Because if we get sucked into hell, I'm not taking my dogs with me. Ryan, I don't care, but my dogs now. So what do you
Well,
think so far?
I think I'm excited for more. And it's just no wonder that she ended up down this path. I feel like she was doomed to fail just from her upbringing alone, which is really sad and unfortunate. Because sometimes, rarely, but sometimes people can overcome that stuff. But most of the time, it's just a tragedy. It just ends in tragedy. So,
Yeah, I think I mentioned it later in the notes, but she either, I think, is bipolar.
oh,
I think it's bipolar. Don't quote me. I'll have to get into that later. But obviously, you go unmedicated,
mm-hmm.
your lows are going to be really low. And that's probably why
Especially,
she goes off the handle so fast.
and when she's feeling all that responsibility to keep things comfortable or attempt to keep things comfortable, and you're not mentally stable, it's a recipe for disaster.
No, and like, if your highs get really high, right? So she loves the lifestyle of the partying and with Tyra and all the things that they're doing. She's like, this
Yeah.
feels great. I feel loved, like, for my first time in my life. I
And
have someone that loves me.
yeah, the kind of love that she's been looking for. Like not
And then
of a
when things
sexual
start
nature.
going downhill and they can't keep up with it, then she spirals.
Yeah.
Told you it's very interesting.
She spirals down the portal of hell.
Good riddance.
No bueno. So thank you all for being here and listening to us ramble for hours upon hours. And hopefully you'll come back next week to hear part 2. Montana, you said you don't really know how many parts there are going to be.
I have no idea because we're going to go into we're going to go into all the victims because I feel like a lot of podcasts and stuff, when they talk about victims, it's a lot of women. So I think that we need to actually see men as victims.
Definitely.
So we're going to go into the men victims, and I think they should have their stories. So who knows how many parts? That's why I don't know.
Well, we'll definitely be a part 2 coming next week. And hopefully Sundays are working well for everyone. But again, like I said, thank you so much for supporting us, for listening to us. You can find us on all the social medias at Weekly Bazaar Podcast. We're on Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, you can email us at weeklybazaarpodcast@gmail.com if you have anything that you'd like us to cover. If you have any stories that you want to tell, we would love to hear from you. And any feedback, really, any feedback that you have for us, just feel free to let us know. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/weeklybazaar. My dog's getting hungry. I can hear her. And yeah. So if it's weird,
we're going to talk about it.
Bye.
Bye.